If you want to be an anomaly, you have to act like one. Like, people want all these special things to happen, but then they're acting like everybody else. It's just an incredible time. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing, pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic, winning DNA. My lack of interest in complaining is so high. And when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. There's so many people that are talking about how big of an entrepreneur they're going to be and how much they're going to achieve, and they don't work on weekends. You know, I worked every Saturday in my 20s. Like, and I talk to 20-year-old entrepreneurs every single day. Lately, I've been saying to them, this Saturday, you're going to have more time off than I've had in my entire 20s. So, like, before you tell me how you're going to be bigger than me, start thinking about what you're actually doing.
Right.
I think positivity and good is practical advice to building an empire. And I want to be the poster child of the person that built the biggest, baddest empire and did it by being a good dude along the way. I plan to instill kindness into my kids. I plan on instilling perspective into my kids. I plan in instilling just being a good human being, right? Like, I don't need them to be an entrepreneur. I don't need them to make me proud. They don't need to go to Harvard. They don't need to do They need to be themselves, all in, and they need to be kind, and I'm good. I don't judge myself. I'm fully in love with myself. But I'm also fully in love with everybody else, too. It goes both ways. Like, I tell people to buy into me, that work for me, it's because I buy into them first. I don't need anybody to gain trust with me. It's there. The reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth. That's just data. That's reality. And not everybody's going to be happy about everything I did, but if it's 97% of people talking good behind your back, that's a real legacy. And I want to do it in a pop culture way. I'm going to do it anyway. People have done that before. Just so you know, there's plenty of people. Warren Buffett's a really good dude. Like, there's plenty of people that have done that. There's a difference. I want to do it, and I want to be a rock star, right? Like, and that's where you influence people. Like, you know, like, I want to do it, but I also want to be the most popular. And so then that person's like, oh, I want to be him, so I guess I'll be nice. Like, I want to literally take people who have DNA that's kind of nice and make them more nice because they think that's how I became big. So I basically want to trick the business world into becoming kinder. I'm careful to not give advice that I know is uniquely something that I was gifted with. Like, how do I tell you that, oh, here's how it actually works? I mean, it almost started happening. It didn't happen. Like, I actually get goosebumps. Like, actually, like real heavy goosebumps when I hear something that I know feels right. What's the advice there? Hey, Johnny, start getting goosebumps. Like, there's certain things that I can't talk about because I know they're not practical. They're intuitive to me. There's a lot of push towards being a workaholic, and hard work is a learned behavior. I see it in my team. There's people that come into I've seen it in the thousands of employees I've had, which is the closer they are to the sun, the harder they work. And I'm like, And so I definitely feel like I learned hard work by watching my parents. And so it's why I talk so much about hustle. I watch people give advice completely predicated on natural talent and DNA. And I'm like, look, like, I get it. Like, I can throw a football every day for 9 hours a day. I'm just not physically built to be competitive at the highest levels. So, yeah, I do think, you know, if anybody watching right now, if there's anything they take away, it's like, look, like, you're going to only be so pretty. You're only going to be so smart. Like, there's things that are going to be natural, and then there's things that you can actually control. I do believe, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, I don't, but I do believe that work ethic is a taught behavior. It's something you do have more control over. And so I feel like there's a shift that can make people work harder. If you're like, to me, life is broken down into complaining and not. So if you're not complaining, well, then I have no advice for you. We're beating ourselves up. Like, everybody sucks at something, right? Like, we all have shortcomings and we all have strengths. And for me, it's like, why don't we just audit that? Like, why don't we just look at it that way and be like, all right, well, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. Like, and then I only focus what I'm good at, right? Like, I don't dwell that I can't fix shit around the house. I call somebody to fix it. Like, I'm not a man. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't get it. Like, we all, like, I also think it's awesome that I'm so emotionally stable and I'm the emotional backbone of everybody. Is that what a dude's supposed to do? Like these cliches, these stereotypes, they're so silly. You're exactly right, man. I believe that the human race is so grossly underrated. We are good. Of course we have some bad. There's 7 billion of us. But like when you look at our net score, it's bonkers. Like, do you know how much damage we could be doing to each other on an hourly basis? And we don't? Like, we're still here. Like, we won. We're the alpha being. And we've figured out how to stay together. This is insane when you think about it. And yet everybody wants to dwell on, like, somebody said something mean. Karma is practical. I love how people think karma is like this weird thing. Doing good for other people is a good strategy. Like, it's like, I've been like trying to forget. I'm like, why does this thing even exist? It's actually the most common sense thing of all time. Why does karma seem weird? The fuck is karma? Like, wait a minute. So you're telling me, like, if you do lots of good things, that weirdly good things happen to you? Yeah, that seems like common sense. Like, it's amazing to me. Anyway, I try to do all the right things. We started rolling. There seemed to be an opportunity for somebody to sit above our current head of HR. And so we decided there was that opportunity, but I could not call her the head of HR. I did not want the world to think of that's what we were doing. And I wanted her to sit at the pedestal as the most important person in the company besides me, more than the CFO, more than the COO, which got you into chief, right? And then, heart just seemed right. Like, it just seemed like a nice word, So it didn't have like, if she was chief emotion officer, then she'd be CEO and that'd be weird. So it just fit.
And have you seen other companies pick this up?
We've seen companies like NASA and other big companies reach out to us and they're like auditing us.
Wow.
I have a feeling that it could happen. Yeah, I feel it could happen. That would be a great legacy. I want to do the following. I'm fascinated by the same thing that attracts so many millions of people to people that are selling bullshit. Those same people are attracted to me. And what I want to do is suffocate out all those other people and become the alpha of that entire world of people that are hoping and are desperate to look at me. And what I want to do is inspire 2 14-year-old girls in Kansas City right now to build a $1 billion company on having a bunch of employees hugging each other in the halls. I think that Steve Jobs came along, became an icon, but the sad part of that narrative was he did not treat his employees well. He became an icon, and the narrative became he got the most out of people by being a jerk, and that became romanticized. And a lot of people in Silicon Valley today run companies where they're mean because they think that's the right thing to do because they put Steve Jobs on a pedestal. I want my pedestal moment. I want to become that big, and what I want to come from that is that kids that aren't even born today think that they can build a $5 billion company and be a great guy or a great gal. I want to build the biggest building in town ever by just building the biggest building in town, while I think most people try to tear down everybody else's building. So I think positivity and good is practical advice to building an empire. And I want to be the poster child of the person that built the biggest, baddest empire and did it by being a good dude along the way.